Hello, everybody, and welcome to MBRT's Just for Juniors series. I have a feeling we're going to be changing that name soon because our juniors are about to become seniors. And as most of us know, as our seniors go into their senior year, there is so much to take care of. Many of our students are going to be applying to college this year, and there's a lot to know in the college application process. So today we're going to focus on what colleges are looking for in the application. I do have a special guest with me today. Her name is Suzie Friedrich. She's an admissions counselor at Washington College. Suzie, thank you so much for being with us today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So before we get started on the applications, would you mind giving us a little bit about your background?
Sure, happy to. I was a teacher for 18 years. I taught mostly in high schools in New Jersey and in the Baltimore area. And then I got into college coaching. I did that for 13 years. And now I've landed at Washington College in admissions. So I feel like I've seen the recruiting process and the whole college process from every possible angle. And this is actually my second stint at Washington College. I was the head women's soccer and lacrosse coach from 2003 to 2008. So it's nice to be back in Chestertown. And then the last thing I'll just say is we have different territories. So one of my territories, the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and then my other territory is Northern New Jersey. So I'm happy to be here chatting with you all.
Well, we're very happy to have you, and I can't wait for you to come down and visit my school.
Looking forward to it.
So if I'm correct, the college application season opens August 1st. Is that true?
That is correct. Yes.
So it's time for these rising seniors to get started on those applications and get that jump start on the school year. We know it's been a crazy year. Some students have taken SATs, some haven't. Some students, didn't go the traditional route and be able to take them 2 or 3 times. So what are colleges looking for? What is going to make an application stand out and have a student be admitted to the school?
Yeah, so I'll tackle the SAT question or the SAT, ACT question first. It is true that many schools since the pandemic have gone test optional. Washington College, we've been test optional for a number of years. That just was our policy. But I can share with you that this past senior class, 67% of them were test optional that were admitted to Washington College. So that's a pretty high number. So I think it's important that when you are looking at schools, definitely find out if they are using test scores or if they're going test optional. So you can do either one, and it doesn't make or break your application. We're going to look at the entire thing. We really take a holistic approach to the application. So yes, we're going to look at SAT scores if they're there. But the other things that we're looking for, with your essay, we want you to show your personality. We are going to look at your transcripts hard. We're going to look at your activity sheet or a resume that you may submit. And we'll also read very carefully the recommendations that you submit. So we look at it all.
So you just named some very important things for students to start thinking about. Starting with the essay, how should a student begin to write their essay? What can they focus on? Where do they get their ideas?
Great question. So, there are things in your application that we need to know, that every college needs to know. So that's your name, your birth date, your transcripts, your high school, all those things that are pretty standard. The one thing that's going to really set you apart is your essay, because it gives you a chance to tell us what we want to know, not what we need to know. And we really want you to show your personality. So if you're using the Common App, there's going to be 7 different prompts that you can use. And our recommendation to our students is write your essay, write a great essay, and then fit it into one of the prompts. Sometimes it's harder to read the prompts and try to write the perfect essay. So with the amount of prompts that they're pretty general. So you can fit an essay, you can slide it right into one of those prompts. And then another tip would be when you are writing your essay, do it on a Word doc or a Google Doc, because if you're doing it in the Common App, there's a chance it may time out and you'll lose everything that you have. So if you're doing Word doc or a Google Doc, That will give you a chance to revise, have someone look at it. I can't tell you the number of essays that have just come, and I can tell somebody didn't put the time and effort in, right? Because there's a lot of errors. So, as a counselor, for me, the essay, it's like Forrest Gump. I never know what I'm going to get. I have laughed hysterically. I have cried, and I've gone everywhere in between. But it really is just a chance for me to get to know you better and for you to share things that will really show off your personality and what makes you unique.
And I've often told my students that colleges are looking to make their environment wonderful. So they're looking for wonderful people to put there. They want to give everybody a chance, but they're building their community. So it is important to take the time to look over your work. And I love the idea of doing it in a Google Doc or Word doc that you can revise before you put it in the actual application. And I've also heard that if you're applying to 2 different schools and you're mentioning the school in your essay, be sure to change it before you send it to the second school.
I actually had an essay where a student said that they were looking forward to sitting by the pond and studying. And I was like, well, we don't have a pond on our campus. So yes. And I would say the other thing would be really pay attention to the directions, follow the word count. Depending on what school you're applying to, some of the admissions counselors are going to read hundreds, if not thousands, of applications. And if you are writing a 5-page essay, it could do more harm than good. So really pay attention to the word count.
That's great advice as well. So essays are really important, but you also mentioned, like you said, we need the basic information and the transcripts, but you mentioned something else that I know students tend to put off till the last minute. And those would be the letters of recommendation.
Yes. So you will need definitely your school counselor's recommendation that they will write, and they know they have to do that, but definitely talk with them ahead of time. Just so it depends on the size of your school too, how well you know your counselor. But if you're going to also be asking a teacher to do a recommendation, or maybe a scout leader or your pastor, definitely give those people enough lead time for them to write a great essay about you, right? Don't spring it on them at the last minute.
And these people teach a lot of people and work with a lot of people. So it doesn't hurt to give them a resume so that they can write your letter of recommendation and actually know some of the things that you've done.
Right. The resume, or maybe you're just doing the activity sheet, really helpful. And you want to make sure that you don't sell yourself short. Write down all the things that you're involved in. And if you hold a leadership position, write that down too. So if you're the captain of a team, or you're the historian for the National Honor Society, write down all of those things, because we want to know. We want to know all the things that you're involved in. And it's helpful, like you said. Sometimes I've read essays where I don't see much in the activity section or a resume, but then I get to the counselor recommendation and I read about all these wonderful things. And I thought, why didn't they mention that, themselves? So don't sell yourself short.
So the idea is to actually sell yourself, right?
Exactly.
Time to brag.
Exactly.
Well, that's some great advice. If you were to tell anybody getting ready to fill out their application one last piece of advice, what do you think it would be?
Well, just definitely put the time and effort into it. It's not something you want to rush through, because this is going to be your 4-year home, and you want to make sure you're doing a great job, and really, like we said, selling yourself. And I guess the last thing would be, don't worry about the price tag for college. You want to make sure too that it's going to work out for your family financially. But a lot of schools will have ways for you to get to college financially. There are very few people who pay full price. So there's definitely lots of ways for merit aid. And that's when we read your application and we see all the things that you do, that we come up with merit aid. And then there's also financial aid and maybe some scholarships.
That's fantastic advice, not to look at the sticker price and to work with the colleges and figure out what can be done to get you there. That's great advice. I did think of one more thing I wanted to ask you to clarify, if you would.
Yeah.
There are many deadlines with college applications. And I know the words early action, early decision. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between the two?
Absolutely. So early decision, that deadline, especially for Washington College, is November 15th. That is a binding agreement, which means if you get accepted to Washington College, you must pull your applications from all of your other schools and you sign an agreement that says you're going to attend. This would be used if you really feel like you found the right home, right? And you feel like this school is really going to be a great place for me. That's maybe the opportunity for you to apply early decision. I think the most popular one is early. So it's a bit later. It's December 15th deadline. You can apply to as many schools as you like. It's non-binding. So, take your time and decide where you're going to go. And then the last one would be regular decision. So that's a bit later. It's February 15th for us. But you have to make your final decision by May 1st.
Decision day. I love May 1st. I love seeing everybody wearing their college gear. Are there any advantages to applying early action versus regular decision?
Well, first of all, you're going to find out early, and then you can relax the rest of your senior year if you decide to make your decision. But I would also say it could be an advantage, even at Washington, is there may be some scholarships that you would be that will be available to you if you applied either early decision or early action. So that will help defray the cost for you.
Well, we have covered applications, essays, resumes, and letters of recommendation, a little bit of deadlines. I think we've done a pretty good job of covering everything today.
That was excellent.
Well, Suzie, I would like to thank you very much for being with us today. I'm excited that you were able to join us and you had so much great information to share. And for everyone else from MBRT, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget, we have an app that can help you plan all of this out. It's called the Way to Be app, and we will talk to you next time.
Thank you.